Joining me in studio now to just talk about or dissect some of the array of issues or concerns that have come up in terms of the preparation of the IEBC, specifically security-wise, a security analyst, Richard Tuta, who's now joining me in studio. Richard, thank you for joining us. With just 16 hours to go, there's so much talk going on. We can start off with the issue of network coverage that we've also seen the CEO try to address just a few minutes ago.
I think the question that IEBC should be telling Kenyans, because this is something that they have known for quite a while. And now the question is it by default or is it by design? Because you realize that some of the areas that they are saying that there is no network coverage, some people cannot believe. Like, for instance, if somebody tells you that close to Kisumu, there is no network coverage. Some places that are closer to Kisii, there is no network coverage. Those are some of the things that Kenyans are asking. Is it by default or is it by design? Is it by default that, that they woke up in the morning and they realized that there is no network, or it is something that they have known all along and they have only brought it to the attention of Kenyans in the last about 2 hours? And you see, when such like a thing comes in, the question is, do they have a backup plan? And how safe is that backup plan?
But still on that issue of the lack of 3G and 4G network coverage in these areas, the IEBC has come out and explained, like, look, we have contracted the telecommunications companies to work where we have been unable to in terms of network, Safaricom, Telkom Kenya, as well as Airtel. But there's also an issue of the presiding officer or the returning officer having the results, and you're in an area where there's no network and you're told that go to an area where there's network for you to transmit the results to Nairobi. Security-wise, just how efficient will this be?
You see, the question that we need to ask is that system that they are putting in place to deal with that eventuality, is it safe? How safe is it? How insulated is it against being penetrated? And one thing that from a security perspective is that there is no a single system that has been made of a human being that cannot be penetrated. The only thing that deters people to penetrate most of the system is based on a cost-benefit analysis. What is the cost of penetrating a certain system, and what are the benefits that you stand to gain? But if the benefits are more than the cost that you will undergo, then definitely somebody will penetrate that system. We have had networks hacking all over the world, even the most secure networks all over the world. And I don't know, we are yet to see how sure all that IBC have been taking us through for the last almost 1 year. Because technology sometimes can let you down, and they can let you down when you really, really need them.
Ezra Chiloba says that, from a question posed there by my colleague Sophia Wanuna, that what happens when we are in darkness and things have gone wrong. And he says that is one of the last things they're thinking about because it can't happen.
You see, the moment you think that things cannot happen, when they happen, they will surprise you. And when they surprise you, the mitigation effect of it all will be very high. Unlike when you tend to think on a probabilistic manner. Because what I was saying is that, like, the CEO of IBC is shying away from thinking in a probabilistic manner. And I think that will be the worst thing that can happen to IBC, the moment they tend not to think on a probabilistic manner, because anything can happen. In fact, put it differently, sometimes shit do happen. Yes.
Looking at what you say, that we need to think in a probabilistic manner, ideally, what do you expect from the IEBC? What should they put in place?
One thing that IBC needs to do is to think on imagined scenarios, both real and unreal. They try to look into all the measures that they have put in place. They look at, suppose, what if this measure fails? What these other measures that they are trying to put in place of maybe the presiding officer walking to the next polling station and transmitting the result. Suppose also that one fails. These are the things. Once they think on that probabilistic manner, then they will try to come up with a measure to be put in place in case the ones that they have fails. Remember, this is an election that involves very high stakes. And anything that happens, no a single Kenyan will tend to believe that it was by default. Everybody will tend to think that it was designed to happen that way.
Just a few hours ago, NASA presidential candidate Raila Odinga gave a press briefing making some very grave allegations against the Inspector General of Police, saying that there is an intention to shut off network from the country. So Jubilee voters or people from Jubilee strongholds have been asked to vote before 12. He said that an aircraft from the Laikipia airbase this morning carrying smoke bombs left the airbase to Nairobi, as well as addressed, of course, the network coverage. There's some of these utterances that are coming from our leaders at a very critical time. Where are they placing us as a country?
It will be very wrong for the official opposition leader, that is Honorable Raila Odinga, not to think in that manner. We normally say that it is rightful within his thinking to think red. That because to him, anything that happens, he sees it from an enemy's perspective, which is very right of him. But now the problem is what lacks in all this process is what currently is viewed as the national security. Currently, national security is viewed from a perspective of trust. There cannot be any security measures being put in place without trust. The question that we should always be ask ourselves, wherever the national security systems put in measures to secure this election, is that, is there trust? Is there trust from the police against the citizens? Is there trust from the citizens against the police? Like, for instance, can the police tell the citizens good night and they put on their pajama and they go straight to bed? Or can the citizens themselves tell the police good night and the police puts on a pajama and goes on to bed? What lacks in all these measures that are being put in place is a trust. And the moment that one is not there, anything that, whether good or bad, that the police are trying to put in place to secure this election, there is always that aspect of the citizens, that these are not measures that are being put in place to secure these elections. These are measures that are being put in place either to rig the elections or to secure some individuals within the political establishment.
So with that breach of trust or seeming up as perception beg your pardon, of the breach of trust, and this being the injury time, so to speak, of this particular election, how should the IEBC, the security forces, carry out themselves as well as the voters?
What is important now is not what either IEBC intends to do or what it is doing currently or what the police is doing or what they intend to do. What is important currently is how they intend what they are planning to do. The moment there is a little bit of suspicion in what the police or IEBC intend to do, so regardless of what they will do now, that trust will have already been eroded. I think they should come out clearly and tell the citizenry, yes, we are here to safeguard the elections, not to safeguard the interest of people, some individuals within the state, but to secure the state.
Talking about trust issues, we've seen the incumbent governor, William Kabogo of Kiambu, storm a meeting by IEBC and security officials claiming some police officers have been compromised, and of course talking about the number of agents required by every other candidate. Your comment on that?
These are some of the indicators that I was talking about. When the public are being treated to such like indicators, at the end of the day, wherever they see even the IEBC officials, they will see an IEBC official as an extension of a candidate's agent, not as a neutral player into this game. Wherever they see a police officer, they will see that police officer as an extension of an agent of a particular party, as a particular agent, not as a neutral player into this game. And how they are going to treat the agent of that political party or the agent of that particular candidate, they may extend it to the police, they may extend it to the IEBC officers. This is a very dangerous trend.
So, ideally, what do you expect from that? How do we handle ourselves in the next few hours?
I think the most important thing is that let the police not over-politicize the risk management approach to national security, whereby they are supposed to think and act on a probabilistic manner. The moment they are seen to over-politicize the risk management approach to national security, then the trust will be eroded. And remember, it is not a matter of how many military hardwares that you deploy, how many officers that you deploy, is a matter of trust. Look at currently what is happening in Venezuela. It's a very good example that regardless of the military hardwares that you have, and the citizens themselves tend not to trust that security measures that you are putting in place.
Okay.
That will be...
All right. Richard, thank you. In the next few hours, we'll see how that goes. Richard Tuta is a security analyst, so it's a pleasure having you here. Let's now